The Ravens have been the center of so many debates lately, especially with Lamar Jackson under the microscope again after a rough stretch of games. You hear people saying things like Lamar will never win a Super Bowl, comparing him to other quarterbacks and questioning his ability to perform in the playoffs, but honestly, it feels way too early to make judgments like that. Yes, Lamar hasn't been at his best over the last few weeks, and yes, Thursday night's game exposed some struggles in both his execution and the team's offensive line play. But there are so many factors to consider before writing him off completely. The touchdowns were essentially erased by penalties or fumbles, the team is dealing with injuries, and the offensive line has had its struggles. Yet somehow the narrative remains that Lamar is doomed to fall short in the postseason. That's not just unfair, it's dismissive of the actual talent and skill he's displayed over his career. If you look at all-time great quarterbacks, not everyone wins early. Peyton Manning didn't win his first Super Bowl until he was 30 years old. Drew Brees was 31, and yet Lamar, at 28 going on 29, still has plenty of time to make his mark. It's been disappointing to see him not at his peak in playoff scenarios. But judging his entire career on a 3-game stretch isn't just premature, it's absurd. Lamar could easily turn things around in the remaining games of the season and remind everyone of the elite player we saw earlier before his injury. He's proven he can dominate both with his arm and with his legs, and dismissing him now ignores all of that. People point out that Lamar played with 10 Pro Bowlers last year, excluding himself, as if that somehow diminishes his accomplishments. It doesn't. That argument fails to recognize the level of performance Lamar achieved regardless of the roster around him, and yes, the Ravens need to improve roster construction offensively, especially along the offensive line. But Lamar has consistently been a low-error quarterback, one of the best in the league when it comes to passer rating. Throwing 41 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions in a season isn't luck. Yes, he's had a rough stretch with 3 games without a touchdown, but that doesn't define him. Judging a player of his caliber solely on a short slump, especially when he's clearly dealing with injury issues and poor line play, is not reflective of reality. Criticism is fair when warranted, but saying he will never succeed in the playoffs is beyond harsh. There's still a full season ahead, and Lamar has the ability to elevate the team and put himself back in the spotlight. Even the discussion about Lamar needing to stand in the pocket and deliver, like Mahomes or dual-threat quarterbacks such as Jalen Hurts, overlooks that Lamar is fully capable as a pocket passer. His ability to read defenses, make accurate throws, and maintain composure under pressure is well documented. Yes, improvements are always possible. And yes, every quarterback has areas to work on. But Lamar has shown consistent growth year over year. Even during this recent slump, he's not suddenly incapable of performing at an elite level. People forget how quickly he can bounce back. It's not uncommon for a quarterback to hit rough patches, particularly when the offensive line struggles, when key players are injured, or when the system itself is flawed. But Lamar Jackson is not a typical quarterback. He's a generational talent who can change games with both his arm and his legs. Looking at the Ravens' use of players like Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell, it's clear that coaching decisions have played a significant role in recent struggles. For instance, Derrick Henry had impressive yardage per carry and scored touchdowns, yet he wasn't consistently on the field during crucial moments. Keaton Mitchell, while explosive, had barely any snaps in comparison to Rasheen Ali, who led the snap counts despite being less impactful in terms of big plays. These inconsistencies in player utilization hurt the team's rhythm and take pressure off Lamar to compensate for deficiencies in other areas. John Harbaugh's offensive decisions have been questioned repeatedly, and it's understandable why frustration builds when top-tier players aren't used effectively. In the game plan, the offensive struggles can't solely be blamed on Lamar Jackson. Even when you look at specific game situations, like the Ravens' performance against Cincinnati, the imbalance in player usage was stark. Derrick Henry had 0 carries in the second quarter despite dominating when given the opportunity, and Keaton Mitchell's snaps were minimal. Meanwhile, Rasheen Ali logged the majority of snaps at the running back position. When a team averages over 5 yards per carry as a unit, that's a formula for success, but only if the key players are consistently utilized. Failing to do so undermines the offense and unfairly magnifies any quarterback struggles. Lamar's missed throws and imperfect performance on Thursday night are part of football, but the bigger picture shows a quarterback still performing at a historically high level when all factors are considered. Criticism is warranted when he falters. But it's vital to differentiate between short-term slumps and a player's overall capability. Lamar Jackson remains one of the most dynamic and effective quarterbacks in the league, with the tools to take his team deep into the playoffs if supported by better roster construction and more strategic utilization of key players. Meanwhile, the Ravens' standing in the AFC North has been influenced by the performances of other teams. Even though Baltimore struggled on the field, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills handed the Pittsburgh Steelers a significant defeat, allowing the Ravens to maintain a lead in the division. A 26-7 final score in favor of the Bills shows how competitive dynamics in the division can shift quickly, and the Ravens benefit indirectly from these outcomes. The AFC North, despite its proud history and intense rivalries, is currently underperforming across the board. The Steelers and Bengals have not been as dominant as in previous seasons, and Baltimore still manages to stay atop the division, illustrating how the Ravens' season cannot be judged in isolation. While the team must address offensive inconsistencies and support Lamar more effectively, the broader context of the division and other teams' performances matter significantly. It's clear that Lamar Jackson's career continues to be scrutinized through a lens that emphasizes playoff shortcomings while often ignoring his sustained excellence and adaptability. His ability to lead, his historical achievements in passer rating, and his dual-threat capabilities are undeniable. The narrative that he cannot succeed in the postseason is repetitive and simplistic, failing to account for injuries, coaching decisions, and the natural ebb and flow of a football season. Lamar is 28 years old, and while there is room for growth, there is also immense potential for resurgence. The next games could see him rediscovering his rhythm, breaking out of the slump, and reminding everyone why he is considered one of the league's most unique and explosive quarterbacks. The Ravens coaching staff, led by John Harbaugh, must make adjustments, particularly in how they deploy their offensive weapons. Players like Derrick Henry and Cat Mitchell need consistent opportunities to impact the game, which in turn alleviates pressure on Lamar and enhances overall offensive efficiency. Snap counts and utilization strategies are not just statistics, they shape the flow of the game and dictate whether a team can capitalize on its talent. Until these elements are addressed, it's easy for external critics to latch onto Lamar's occasional misfires. But understanding football in its entirety shows the systemic factors at play. Lamar Jackson, when healthy and properly supported, remains one of the league's most formidable quarterbacks, capable of turning a team around and making deep playoff runs. And it's far too early to dismiss him as incapable of winning a Super Bowl. Looking ahead, the Ravens are preparing for a crucial matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's clear that the stakes are higher than ever in the AFC North. After a Thanksgiving week full of reflection and analysis, the team has to recalibrate and focus on executing fundamentals more effectively. Lamar Jackson will play a central role, but his success hinges not only on his performance, but also on the adjustments made by the coaching staff and the way the supporting cast is deployed on the field. The Steelers have vulnerabilities that the Ravens can exploit, especially if Baltimore addresses the inefficiencies that plagued recent games. Derrick Henry, when consistently given opportunities, has the potential to dominate in the run game, which would open up passing lanes and relieve pressure on Lamar. Cat Mitchell, similarly, provides explosive plays in critical moments, but both players must be on the field at the right times to create a balanced and unpredictable offense. When the Ravens utilize their roster strategically, Lamar's dual-threat abilities become exponentially more dangerous, creating mismatches that opposing defenses struggle to contain. The offense has been hampered in recent weeks by inconsistent line play and questionable snap distributions, but there are solutions that could quickly turn things around if the coaching staff adjusts. The rotation of running backs ensures better protection for Lamar and emphasizes situational awareness. The team could return to the high-powered offensive unit we saw earlier in the season. It's not just about talent, it's about putting the talent in positions where it can succeed. Lamar Jackson has demonstrated time and again that he thrives in environments where the offensive strategy complements his unique skill set. The challenge for Baltimore is to recognize this and implement game plans that maximize efficiency, rather than create unnecessary complications. Critics have focused on small mistakes and short-term struggles, but the reality is that Lamar's career and potential are far too significant to be overshadowed by a few difficult games. The upcoming battle against Pittsburgh is also a reflection of the AFC North's current state. which is arguably one of the weakest in football this year. Teams that once defined the division through dominance and rivalries are now inconsistent, creating opportunities for Baltimore to assert control despite internal struggles. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills played a pivotal role in shifting the balance of power by defeating the Steelers decisively, allowing the Ravens to maintain the top spot in the division. It's a reminder that football is not played in a vacuum. Team dynamics, divisional matchups, and the timing of wins and losses all influence outcomes. The Ravens, even in moments of adversity, remain well-positioned to capitalize on these circumstances. Lamar's leadership, combined with effective coaching adjustments, could allow Baltimore to turn challenging games into critical victories and strengthen their postseason positioning. Even as we critique Lamar's recent performance, it's essential to contextualize the challenges he's faced: injuries, missed opportunities due to penalties, and a lack of consistent offensive support have contributed to a temporary decline in his statistical output. Yet, his talent has never been in question. Lamar's passer rating remains among the highest in NFL history, and his ability to combine athleticism with precision passing is unmatched. This is a quarterback who can read defenses, adjust on the fly, and make game-changing plays when given the right support. The narrative that he struggles under pressure ignores the reality that football is a team sport, and quarterback performance is inseparable from the system and players around him. When Derrick Henry or Catton Mitchell are underutilized, the burden on Lamar increases, making it easier for critics to point to errors rather than systemic issues. It's also worth noting the psychological aspect of the game. Lamar has shown resilience throughout his career, bouncing back from injuries and setbacks to deliver standout performances. The mental toughness required to maintain confidence while navigating criticism, especially from national pundits who often simplify complex situations, is immense. Lamar's ability to process feedback, learn from mistakes, and return to peak form is a hallmark of elite athletes, and it underscores why dismissing him prematurely is short-sighted. He is 28 years old, with a full season ahead and multiple years left to continue building his legacy. Comparisons to quarterbacks who achieve success later in their careers, like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, demonstrate that time and opportunity matter, and Lamar has both. The Ravens' success is intertwined with his growth and adaptation, and as long as the team prioritizes smart roster management and consistent utilization of its key players, Lamar remains poised to lead the franchise to significant achievements. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The buzz around Baltimore grew louder the moment the announcement hit the air. The Ravens have officially secured 3 high-impact reinforcements, and the fan base is already treating the news like the spark of something big, while the franchise remains characteristically reserved about the finer details. Insiders close to the front office swear the atmosphere behind the scenes has shifted from cautious optimism to full-blown excitement. Local chatter suggests the trio is made up of players handpicked to plug some of the most pressing gaps on the roster: a dynamic presence for the defensive front, a versatile weapon for the offense, and a specialist capable of altering the rhythm of tight games. These are the profiles being whispered about, and each seems to match the Ravens' long-standing philosophy of power, discipline, and adaptability. Coaches have reportedly been smiling more than usual, an unusual detail that has only fueled speculation that these signings might be more significant than the typical off-season additions around the training facility. Even those who usually keep their cards close to the vest have been dropping hints about the newcomers' physicality and immediate readiness. Staff members have been spotted exchanging knowing looks, and at least one veteran player was heard saying the roster just got a whole lot scarier. Fans have taken that line and run with it, flooding message boards and social platforms with theories about who the new faces could be and how quickly they might shift the balance of power in the conference. What is known for certain is the reaction outside the facility. The moment the signings were confirmed, supporters erupted in celebration, treating the news like a promise of something bigger. Many are already dreaming of deeper postseason runs, imagining how these reinforcements could elevate the team's ceiling. The Ravens have built a reputation for surprising the league when least expected, and this wave of additions feels like another chapter in that tradition. Now, the city is buzzing, analysts are intrigued, and rivals are surely taking note. The Ravens have made their move, and the rumor mill insists this is only the beginning. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.